every time. And when my time is up, have I done enough? Will they tell your story? Oh, I can't wait to see you again. It's only a matter of time. Will they tell your story? Who lives, who dies, who tells your story? Will they tell your story? Who lives, who dies, who tells your story?
Trinity Church has been on or around this property since 1696, and we're taking the long view, which means we are committed to support this community and the city of New York in new ways as the city needs us, now and for the long haul. On behalf of the rector and the vestry, the Congregational Council, it is a delight to host you, and particularly on this day for this event. And I would just say that you're sitting in our parish hall, but our parish hall is part of what's called Trinity Commons. Trinity Commons is 80,000 square feet that have been set aside for the use of the neighborhood. And the use of the neighborhood as we define it, anyone who finds themselves here is our neighbor.
The Alexander Hamilton Neighborhood Achievement Awards of the Lower Manhattan Historical Association, too. I'm Ambrose Richardson, president of the LMHA. History is not just an abstract subject. Our ancestors survived, witnessed, and participated in the history we learn about.
The origin of our group and the origin of this award. I think we began with the first July 4th parade, which former President Brewer was at the hearing on. Art Piccolo in the back was one of the key factors in it. And in our own minds, that was successful. It was the first time there had been a July 4th parade here in New York City in 40 years. And we thought we ought to try to continue, and we formed an organization, which is now the Lower Manhattan Historical Association, to do other historical activities to promote history here in Lower Manhattan. And that's basically what our purpose is. We do a lot of different events, such as the Inauguration Day, Saratoga, New Yorktown. This proceeding, this is the 5th time we've given this award, began really when Arthur Piccolo and I were discussing with the great band of John Herzog of Alexander Hamilton. We're discussing how important Hamilton was, that Hamilton really was the one who created the American economy and created both Wall Street, the city of New York. And the fact that it's somewhat unusual that he was an immigrant. He was a poor immigrant. And I said, well, you know, there are a lot of people today, immigrants, who may be not as important as creating the American economy, but have done amazing things here in New York and elsewhere. And they're not always recognized. I I was particularly interested in a guy named Rick Rescorla. I don't know how many of you have ever heard of Rick Rescorla. I wanted him to name the award, the Rick Rescorla Immigrant Achievement Award. Arthur convinced me Alexander Hamilton was more appropriate, which I now agree with. But let me tell you about Rick Rescorla, who was our first awardee. Rick Rescorla, for those of you who don't know, was the man who was responsible for security at Morgan Stanley on 9/11. And the Morgan Stanley, there were 2,700 employees in the World Trade Center, the North Tower, and within an hour of the attack, virtually all of them had been evacuated. And that was because of Rick Rescorla. After they all got out, somebody said, well, there are a few people back there, and given his training in Vietnam, he never left anyone behind. Mr. Rescorla went back into the building, and he died when it collapsed. So of the 13 people who died, 2 of them were Richard Rescorla and his
and thank all of you for being here. Today we salute Alexander Hamilton for helping to establish the country that would permit millions of other immigrants to fulfill the American dream. Still, we must recognize that the dream has not been fulfilled for all who have come here, or who were brought here, or who have been born here. We must recognize that there is still much work to be done before that vision can be fulfilled for all. But we should also take time to recognize and salute those who have succeeded. It is with this vision in mind that the Lower Manhattan Historical Association is proud to grant the Alexander Hamilton Immigrant Award to this year's awardees. Thank you.
So thrilled to be here and to be part of the ceremony. And so I'm really proud of New York City right now. That we are, as we have at our best moments, embracing new arrivals to the city, whether they're coming on airplanes to JFK, whether they're arriving on buses to the Port Authority, because we know that they will make our city stronger, that they will contribute to our economic and cultural vitality, as immigrants always have. I have no doubt that today's wave will once again make us a better city. And I'm really grateful to Ambrose and the Lower Manhattan Historical Association for not just highlighting that history, but uplifting immigrants who today are leading in almost every sector of life here. And what an incredible lineup of awardees. To my friend Wellington Chan, who's just been such a force for economic revitalization in Chinatown. It's certainly richly deserved recognition for you today. To Michael Arad, I mean, my goodness, what you have done for the city and what you have designed. I don't think it's exaggerating to say that your design has helped us heal as a city, not by forgetting, but by remembering. Just an extraordinary gift that you've given to New York and the world. Thank you. Y ahora un poco sobre mi amigo, es mencionado, Manuel Castro. Really is an extraordinary leader, the leader that New York City needs for this moment. I am incredibly grateful that you are heading up the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs at a moment of enormous challenges for immigrants in the city. You would have been worthy of this award even before you were commissioner. Manny had led a very important initiative, New Immigrant Community Empowerment, which has a collective of over 15,000 members advocating, fighting for immigrants' rights. But now, as commissioner, he is a trailblazer, the first ever Mexican-American to occupy this role, and the first ever person who was once an undocumented immigrant himself, The commissioner is a dreamer. So can we applaud for that trailblazing history? He's been an eloquent and powerful voice in the media, in Spanish and English, standing up for the migrants, standing up for New York City. I'm incredibly proud that you are leading for the city, proud to call you a friend. This is a truly richly deserved honor. Congratulations.
As the former president mentioned, I'm the commissioner of the mayor's office of immigrant affairs. I'm also a former dreamer. I came here when I was 5 years old with my mother. I crossed the U.S.-Mexican border. Grew up undocumented here in New York City, not too far away in Sunset Park, Brooklyn. And you know, that experience, I never imagined that I would be here, being honored, you know, with an award named after Alexander Hamilton, right? Of course, I later learned about Hamilton's background as an immigrant. But also, this is a very special moment because, and I also want to acknowledge members of our Immigrant Affairs team are also here with us today, who have been working tremendously long hours and, you know, in welcoming asylum seekers, but also making sure the rest of our immigrant communities receive the services they need. Also, my wife, Teresita Prieto, is here. They can tell you themselves that I am one of my hobbies is actually reading history, New York history. And so this is something that I enjoy personally quite a bit, and I'm always going on and on about it. So to be here today is quite amazing. You know, leading up to this event, I was thinking quite a bit about a person that was mentioned earlier, Hercules Mulligan, who, as some of you might know, maybe most of you don't, was not just a spy for General George Washington, but was also the person that took in Alexander Hamilton when he came here from the Caribbean as a child, as an orphan. And that's really significant because Hercules was probably most likely the person that influenced Alexander Hamilton's revolutionary ideas. Hercules was one of the first people to join the Sons of Liberty, was one of the people that participated in the toppling of King George's statue at Bowling Green. But most significant to me, he is someone, as an immigrant himself, an Irish immigrant with a large family, took in Alexander Hamilton and was likely a mentor to him all those years. And it reminds me of all the people that are stepping up and taking in asylum seekers as they arrive to New York. My wife, Teresita, and I recently met a family, a Mexican immigrant family, that they themselves came across a young asylum-seeking family and took them in. Despite living in a crowded, apartment, they said, we want to take this family in because that's what we do as immigrants. We should be a model for many other immigrants who are arriving here, especially those immigrants and asylum seekers from Venezuela, for instance, who continue to fight for those values. So thank you so much again, and congratulations to my colleagues.
So I witnessed Wellington, with his decades of community advocacy experience, continue to look towards the future and long-term transformation and revitalization of Chinatown and Lower Manhattan. But more than that, I feel Wellington is a generous spirit and a very selfless collaborator, forging partnerships between individuals, organizations, and communities to promote the betterment of our city and its residents, to foster community rejuvenation, and also to preserve the history and culture of this city and the immigrant contributions to our nation. So I'm very honored to present this award, both as a proud New Yorker and an immigrant, to Wellington. So I'm very glad that we have Wellington, who continues to work tirelessly to lead for change and serve our diverse communities. And so I want to congratulate Wellington.
So I just want this nation to know, all of you to know, that John F. Kennedy, in 6 months before he was assassinated, in April of 1963, gave an anti-defamation award acceptance speech. And he talked about a nation of England. And what he meant by nation of England, he was talking about the anonymous immigrants, which means all of you. He talked about that there's no such thing as a non-immigrant in this continent. He refers to indigenous people as just early immigrants because they came from the Big Strait. So, and so I just want to share with you how much you have done. Look out the window. The Formosa, right? People ask me where I'm from. Formosa, the Portuguese said that came into Formosa or Taiwan. It's a beautiful island. Henry Hudson called this Formosa too, I guess. But what they forgot to mention was the beautiful people. These islands are now stocked with wonderful people like you. And what you have done is prove the world wrong. What you have done is really show the power of the diversity. Right? And for you that are facing the budget gap, the immigrant community in 2016 contributed $2 trillion to this economy. For those of you that are facing the state budget gap, we contributed $458 billion in 2018. Urban Berlin, the royalty, the popular song this time around the world includes its hometown, Russia, gave away $10 million. Or we did not collect 1 penny. It went to Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts of America. That's the power of payback. But looking back is more important than looking to the future. Now you have really built the greatest city on earth. China, India outnumber you 1.3 billion, 1.4 billion. You're 300 billion. But collectively, you're the power. And the future now is in our hands. The question is, what are we going to do about it? So let me just share with you Nicholas Kristof. In the year 1000, the greatest city on earth is the Chinese city, called Taiwan. The very first city, the city of Earth, in the year 2500 BC, no longer exists. So the lesson for us, including the Chinese, here was, I think, 1840 to 1914. 40 million Europeans left. Why? The same thing we're facing now. A society cannot exist when there's inequality in wealth distribution. So for us, it is much more of a question. What's next? So I want to quote another immigrant that was assassinated, John. Imagine. Imagine. And so to that, I thank you. We have a lot to do.
Officials. I'm really honored to be here to pay tribute to Michael Farad, who, as a visionary and principal architect, as we know, of the 9/11 Memorial, gave us, all of us, a work of global significance that anchored and inspired the redevelopment of Lower Manhattan as we know. And I want to tell you a little story. In 2003 and 4, before becoming the world-renowned winner Of the 5,201 entries in the open competition to design the 9/11 memorial, Michael was an architect at the New York City Housing Authority. The memorial grave is a stunning, lovely, contemplative place, a pathway lined with 6 huge granite monoliths that emerge from the earth, inlaid with steel from the tower. They're stunning. Like the core of the memorial, it is a poignant setting in which to find strength and comfort. And Michael's design made it seamless with the rest of the site, as if it were there all along. And as an immigrant from Israel, Michael was just the person for the job. We all know the story of Alexander Hamilton now. Maybe not just to Lin-Manuel Miranda, let me get some other credit. Hamilton was also smart, tenacious, intense, maybe just a little prickly. So it's fitting that we honor Michael Arad today with the Alexander Hamilton Immigrant Achievement Award. Congratulations.
I'm truly honored and humbled to receive this award, and blessed to be able to share this day with my wife and his daughter. And if I have one regret today, it is that my parents cannot share this recognition with me. It would have meant so much to them to see their son honored like this. In particular, I think it would have meant so much to my father, who was born in Romania in 1934 and immigrated to Israel 15 years later as a war refugee. His journey and his family's journey is very different than mine. Living in tents and refugee camps propelled from their homes by hatred and anti-Semitism. But I do think all immigrants share some commonalities. We are strangers in a new land. And as much as we can succeed in building a new life, we also carry with us a deep connection to a place we might still call home but no longer live in. We made a choice. Live our lives where we do, and that can be bittersweet at times. Some of my foundational experiences are experiences I know my children will never have. It is said that the past is a foreign country, all the more so to an immigrant. I love this country, and I'm grateful for the opportunities it has afforded me, and that I never could have expected. Although recent headlines might suggest otherwise, this is a country of immigrants, and I've always felt welcome here. America, to me, is a remarkable place, a country founded on extraordinary premises and flawed foundations. Where else in this world could someone like me, who is white, Jewish, and an immigrant, someone who is not black or Christian or native born, be entrusted with designing a memorial to 9 African-American parishioners killed in an act of domestic terrorism at their church? I see the promises and failures of America writ large in my life, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to affirm the best ideas of this country is founded upon in my work as an architect. What a profound privilege and responsibility that is. I hope my children will have love of this country that comes from a place of patriotism, not nationalism. America is not, and should never be a place of blood and sweat. To love this country is to love a set of ideals we all have the right to: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. To believe that we can write our own destiny as a country, that we can come together in this place regardless of race, or creed, or national origin. There is no other country in the world that says to immigrants that you too belong. And this remarkable and vibrant city, all the more so. So let's believe in a future for this country that is positive and optimistic, that celebrates America, that sees the success of this country being built by immigrants, new and old, like all of us. Thank you.
All the people who spoke here today, you know, as much as I could have thought of things to say, they said it better and said it more completely. This has been a tremendous experience to hear the sentiments and the ideals and the experiences that the people who have spoken here today. We want to wind up this program, with some music by our favorite troubadour, Lynn Russell. For us, this has been a wonderful occasion. I've been so impressed.
Music came with all of these immigrants, and so it's fitting that we have just a little music in celebration. This is from the Irish perspective. This one is a modern tune written by Brendan Graham, and it looks at Ellis Island and the very first immigrant who stepped on shore on the day Ellis Island opened. And that was Annie Moore, and she was 15 years old. She was the first one off the boat on that day. On the first day of January, 1892, they opened Ellis Island, and they let the people through. And the first to cross the threshold of that isle of hope and tears was Annie Moore from Ireland, who was all of 15 years. Isle of hope, isle of tears, isle of freedom, isle of fears, but it's not the isle you left behind. That isle of hunger, isle of pain, isle you'll never see again, but the isle of hope is always on your mind. In a little bag she carried all her past and history, and her dreams of the future in a land of liberty. And courage is a passport when your old world disappears, but there's no future in the past when you're 15 years. Isle of hope, isle of tears, isle of freedom, isle of fears, but it's not the isle you left behind. That isle of hunger, isle of pain, isle you'll never see again, but the isle of home is always on your mind. When they closed up Ellis Island in 1943, 17 million people had come here for sanctuary. And in springtime, when I came here and I stepped out on its piers, I thought of how it must have been if you're just 15 years. Isle of hope, isle of tears, isle of freedom, isle of fears, and it's not the isle you left behind. That isle of hunger, isle of pain, isle you'll never see again. The isle of home is always on your mind. The isle of home is always on your mind.